Hey folks, Ben here. Just before this episode starts, I want to let you know that the audio for my guest is not amazing on this episode. Unfortunately, we did not have his recording configured correctly, so we were using the wrong microphone. So it's a little hard to hear him. It's not quite to our normal standards of audio quality. So just wanted to say, apologize for that. We'll do better in the future. The good news is the last 15 minutes or so switches over to his correct microphone, and so it will improve if you can make it through the beginning parts. So hope you enjoy. Thanks. Hello there.
Hello, Ben. How's it going?
Good, man. How you doing?
Doing good. Just saw you a couple days ago in Vegas.
I know. You're not Derrick, though.
I'm not. I could act like Derrick, though. I'll try.
It would make me more comfortable if I felt more familiar.
Right. I got to find some glasses or something.
Yeah, so Derrick texted me today, and as he alluded to in the last episode, he is moving. So he is otherwise busy. So this is Brian Casel of BootstrappedWeb and ProcessKit and Audience Ops and Sunrise KPI fame. And I'm psyched you're co-hosting with me today.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Always a fan.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. How was MicroConf?
Yeah, I had a good time. I've been on your show, once or twice before, and like every time it's actually the same day that I was listening to you. So I was listening to you guys this morning, and you were talking about MicroConf, and I heard sort of a similar thing from you as well as other friends of ours, where it's always enjoyable. I continue to want to go back every year. It's kind of like an annual gathering of all of our people. But yeah, something about the talks or just the format. I know you didn't go to the talks or most of them. I actually did, and I do enjoy seeing some talks, especially from people that I haven't seen before. It's sort of a nice change of pace, especially because I don't go to a lot of big conferences. This is sort of the only one that I try to make it out to. But something about the talks this year for me didn't quite hit the mark like they did in previous years. There are a few that I really liked, liked seeing Chris Savage and Jason Fried and Patrick Campbell. I thought were all great. The other ones were sort of mediocre, but I was talking to somebody and I couldn't figure out, like, they probably were really good talks, but maybe it's just my perception of them now at this stage,
And that's what I meant to be my point as well, which is that I feel like I can get so much value from the people that I have relationships with now that it's harder for me to get a similar level of value from a talk that's intended for a wide audience. Whereas like you and I have known each other for years now, and like you have been aware of like what I'm doing since the start. And so it's like you and I can drop into a conversation and we have so much context immediately. How do you compete with that from the stage? Yeah,
I was going up to, we have a lot of the same circle of friends here, and at like the parties at MicroConf, every 20 minutes or so, I would go find them, and we all kind of have the same like look of relief, like, we don't have to talk about like, oh, what are you working on? Like who are you? And we could just talk about stuff that we already know about,
Mm-hmm. I wonder if this is happening to other people, like if this is like a broad trend, just because MicroConf's been around for long enough now that there's an increasingly large cohort of people in this spot.
Also, I know that there are a bunch of people who go to Vegas, but they don't go to MicroConf. They just go to be in the town at this time to meet up with people, which is fine. But I still like attending MicroConf. I still like having the event to go to. Maybe I won't go to all the talks or whatever, but like I still think it's cool to be a part of the actual thing that's going on and be a part of making it what it is, even just as an attendee.
Yep. I had some great conversations, honestly, at like lunch, just like sitting down next to people I didn't know and talking to them and just geeking out on stuff. So yeah, I hear that.
Yeah. And I mean, like you, I'm definitely in the mindset now of like, I go back mainly just to catch up with my friends and have that one in-person gathering. I have a few other gatherings throughout the year, but this is the one where everyone is going to be there. But I do still have the goal of like, it'd be cool to meet 5 or 10 new interesting people that I don't, because you'll always meet somebody who's doing something really cool and they're doing it very quietly. You don't know about them.
Yeah. And you can't tell. You can't just like look at someone and be like, oh, they're doing something cool.
Yeah.
Sometimes people will surprise you.
Yeah. And there were a few people who, I've talked to them a bunch on Twitter and stuff, and I just had no idea what they looked like until meeting in the hallway,
Yeah. People pretty much always tell me that they're surprised at how tall I am because I don't sound that tall on the podcast.
Yeah. It's always that. It's always like meeting people in person after knowing them online. The height factor is always weird.
Sure. So you have the good taste to be a listener of this podcast. I'm curious, do you ever have things you want to like yell at us or say to us as you're listening?
Okay, I'll put this out. I already told you this about a year ago. Jordan and we're from New York. And I think there's part of this personality of growing up in that area for some reason where you could just say whatever. You could be as critical as you want and just have at it. And it's just normal conversation. And I feel like I listen to you guys sometimes and I think both of you to a certain extent are kind of holding back. I'd like to hear more, like dig in, challenge each other more, ask more questions of each other.
You think we're like pulling punches with each other a little bit?
Maybe. Not that like everything needs to be a tear down or anything like that, but like there are just sometimes when it's just like, you're sort of just listing off updates and I'd like to hear somebody, the other person, like dig into that more.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm literally thinking of the next thing. I'm like, what are we going to say after this? Or like, have I talked enough? Or whose turn is it? How long have we gone? So sometimes I'm kind of like, cool, sounds good. Anyway, so part of that is like podcast management technique or something. I know what you're referring to, I think.
I'm not doing it currently, but I had an interview show going for a while on the Productize podcast. And that does take a lot more of that mental energy as the interviewer to like think through what's my next question. And I do want to listen and have a smart follow-up, but I also need to plan where this is going and stuff like that. But like with Jordan, and I think with you guys, it's, you can literally just talk like your friends. And I mean, you do that obviously, but like, I tend to like the just digging in and real conversation,
Yeah, I do too. Like I noticed that about podcasts I listen to where like someone throws something out, like, hold on, say that again, like get into that a little bit more and like get some details in there.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. That's good feedback.
The other
Live
thing,
feedback on the air. Oh yeah,
right.
More. Keep coming.
Well, I know that you guys are starting to do the 2 times a week. I don't know if you're sticking with that or not, but like, I'm curious to see how that plays out. Cause for me with Jordan, and like, I don't think we would have enough to talk about if it's every 2 or 3 days,
Yeah. I don't know that we will either. And like one thought I had is we could bring in more guests as we're having more shows. So maybe it's like half of them are guests and half are us or some proportion. But I just kind of wanted to see what would happen. I am interested in growing the audience a bit. I used to not care at all. And now like I kind of want to see the numbers creeping up. And they are, which is cool. We have more downloads in March than the previous month, but kind of obviously because there's just more episodes.
So you look at that stuff?
I mean, a little bit. Like mostly no. It's not something. It's not one of the metrics that I like spend much time thinking about.
Yeah, I haven't looked at BootstrappedWeb in at least over a year, if not longer. What are you using? Like Castos or Transistor?
Fireside.
Okay.
It's fine.
They give you pretty good metrics.
It's fine.
Yeah.
I just emailed them because like it's kind of ugly design wise. And I was like, I'm thinking about switching podcast hosts because your metrics are not visually appealing and easy to parse. And like, that's such a stupid reason. And I don't want to switch podcast hosts. So
for a while, we had BootstrappedWeb hosted on, what was it called? Like Blueberry?
Okay.
Which was just such a disaster to even log into and find what you need. Like it's just terrible in there. So that's why I never touched it. But then we migrated over to Castos, and that's been really smooth. But again, I don't ever log into it, so I don't even know.
Yeah, I guess I care a little bit. Like, and one thing I've noticed is like a lot of our customers are coming from the podcast, and so it's like, okay, maybe it's worth expanding the reach of that a bit. Like, it's kind of a nice marketing channel for us. And the people that do sign up for Tuple after listening to the podcast have all the context. So it's like, I'll start like getting ready to do a demo. They're like, nah, I get it. Like I've been listening to you for months. I know what's going on. I was like, okay, cool. That's handy.
Especially going to MicroConf. That's where I'm sure for you too, a lot of your listeners are there at MicroConf.
For sure. Yeah, actually it was cool. I polled the audience. So I spoke at Starter, and during my talk, I just asked people to raise their hands if they listened to the podcast. And it was probably half.
That's awesome.
Close to that. It's probably 40 to 50%. It was pretty great.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty cool for us to meet so many people who just listen, and we don't really know that they're there, especially people we haven't met before.
Totally.
And I feel like literally all of our listeners are like in the room. Like that's all of them right there. Like there's no one else outside of Vegas.
Maybe.
At least it
Who
felt
knows?
like, yeah.
You guys have been doing it for a while.
Yeah.
It's been like years now, right?
Yeah. At least 2 years. I don't know.
I feel like more people should be podcasting. Like you and I are friends because of your podcast. Like I found your podcast when I was still working a job, like a normal job. And I was like, this is so cool. And like you were just spinning up audience ops. And I was like, this is such a badass thing. It was through your podcast that I heard about Big Snow. And so I went to Big Snow. And then because of that, I went to MicroConf. And because of that, I did all this stuff. So I was like, that was quite the gateway drug for me.
I think it's great. I do think that more, especially like bootstrappers, people building stuff in this world, should find a friend and have a podcast. And I think a lot of people have this thing like, oh, it has to be useful, it has to be actionable. We have to teach people something, or we have to have interesting guests and interesting interviews. It doesn't have to be like that. Just find someone who's also working on interesting things and talk about updates and dig into it. And
yes,
it's the ongoing story. That's what's interesting.
Totally. You know? And tell me about it, because I want to listen. Like I want more podcasts like this in my life.
Yeah, just be open about the stuff. And
yes, exactly. Share stuff that's embarrassing if you can handle it. You know, like try to share the highs and the lows. I'm psyched that Honey Badger is doing this now. That's like the right kind of thing, where it's like a couple founders sitting around talking about business and what's going on and telling stories. And
that's actually one that I'm not up on. I've got to check that out.
It just hit. It just came out. It's new.
Cool.
So we'll see where they take it. But so far so good.
The cool thing about these kinds of shows, where it's like, just friends giving updates on their startups, is that it's totally boring to most of the world. And like only people like us are really going to tune in. So if you have that sort of sense about it, like you don't have to be so nervous or like hold back anything, because it's like, at first it's 10, 20 people, and then it's a couple hundred people. Maybe you get 1,000 or 2 people, but like really that's probably it in our world. And that's totally fine. And that's more than enough to build a pretty good network of potential customers, potential and people that you hire, partner with, introductions, whatever it may be,
Yeah. And there's totally this phenomenon where like 1 or 2 of the right connections can totally change what's going on for you. So, don't worry about hundreds or thousands of downloads. It's just about that one right person.
Totally. Yeah. We're on a car trip or something, and I'll play something in the car. My wife listens in, like she hates it when I play, shows like yours or like Craig and Dave. She's just like, all right, I don't care about what these people are droning on about. But for me, these are like my favorite 3 podcasts,
That's awesome. Yeah. Very polarizing art of product.
That's right.
So you have been learning to code. You could almost say like you learned to code. You made a product. People are paying you money for Sunrise KPI.
A few people.
A little bit.
not that many. But the one that I'm working on now, ProcessKit, is I gotta say, I'm really proud of this product that I'm making right now. It's not anywhere close to being shippable, but this feels like the best thing that I've built on the web. I've been building a lot of stuff on the web for more than a decade, and you pushed me to actually choose to learn to code about a year ago, a little more than a year ago. And I'm so glad that you and the other guys at the trip did. And it's been such a huge step up, because I was a front end person. I still am very much a front end designer. HTML, CSS, jQuery was familiar. Using WordPress was very familiar to me. I did that for many years. But the back end, opening up the terminal, dealing with databases, for so many years there, I was just like, that is not my world. I don't want to touch that. I have no business touching that. I should let other people do it because they have some magical powers that I don't have. And getting over that, I'm kicking myself, because these days in 2019, I feel like if you're building anything on the web, if you consider yourself any sort of designer on the web, and I do, building the product from front to back is a design exercise. Like you're designing how how data is interacting with each other from the database to how it shows on the screen. Like it's all part of the product that you're designing. And the previous iteration of this thing that I had built, which was that I had launched, called Ops Calendar, which I'll soon be kind of sunsetting, and ProcessKit is intended to sort of replace that and be a new version. I designed it, every detail of it. I did all the front end work on it, but I hired developers to build the back end. And I spent a good $40,000 on that over the course of 12 to 18 months, something like that, overseas. And they were pretty good. They built what I asked them to build. But at that time, I did not understand the back end fully. I don't want to say that I wasn't not a totally non-technical founder, because I did understand like how systems work and the front end of things, obviously, but like the database models and the choice in technology, the choice in frameworks and things, like I had no experience with that stuff, and it turned out to be pretty detrimental for the product. Like year and a half in, we hit a wall where it was like, oh, we have to upgrade from Vue.js 1 to Vue.js 2, and then it broke everything, and they didn't write any test coverage whatsoever, and it was like, and like even early on in that project, like I didn't understand the concept of a SPA, single page application, and they were all hyped about that, so they built everything like an SPA, which it shouldn't have been, And so it's just like things like that. Like now, as a designer, like I know how the product is supposed to be built, and now I can actually build it that way. I feel very slow and inexperienced in doing it, but I feel like I am building a better product myself, even having just learned Rails in the past year, than the one that I paid $40,000 to have built. Like it's already clearly a better product. Test coverage, reliability, everything is thought through. It's better.
Yeah, I think if you don't have a technical person on your founding team, and since you're your whole founding team, I think it's really hard to get a good result out of that. It's possible, but I think you're just so much more likely to have like some serious missteps.
Yeah.
I'm fully in the like, if you want to build a software business, learn to code. Even if you are going to find a technical co-founder, I think you can. Like, I still think you should have that proficiency. It just feels like too much of a handicap. I know some people that have made it work without it, but I think it was a harder path for them. I think it's net harder than just learning to code. Like, learning to code is not easy, but starting a software business is also not easy, and it's so much harder if you can't actually be proficient.
Yeah.
So
learning the language and how different things interact with each other, and just learning the process, understanding when you ask a developer to do something, what's actually going to go into that work. If you're completely non-technical, it can feel like, well, this button in Gmail is so easy for me to click and it does this magical thing. Like it must be just as easy to build it. Like, no,
It's also just a life asset. Like, it's useful for when you're building a software company, but now you can write code. Like, you can just use that for any task that comes up before you for the rest of your life. And it's so powerful.
I mean, it's been a complete career changer for me. I feel like in the last year, I'm focused on building ProcessKit right now, and I hope that that'll be the thing that I focus on, but it might not be. But I know for certain that my next several years of business will be software focused. No doubt about that,
Yep. I think even people that don't necessarily want to start a software company, it's worth learning. Like, I have a friend that at least previously worked at a bank and like had enough programming chops that he was like the best Excel person and could write like Excel macros and like some VB script that no one else could. And it was like a huge force multiplier on him. And so like he was getting promoted, and he very quickly became the guy like, oh, if you don't know how to do this, go ask him. And even though he wasn't programming full time, it was like a key skill for him that made him so much more valuable.
Yeah. I mean, I remember just years ago, just being a web designer, being able to build a website, that made everything look like such a huge opportunity. When you can build things on the web, that's when shiny object syndrome comes in, because like anything you see, you're like, yeah, I could build at least a website for that, But if you could build software, that too, and you're in some other industry like finance or wherever, you could start to look at things like, oh, that's inefficient. Software could help that. It just having that know-how definitely opens those doors, If you're like me and you come from a background in design and you could build basic websites, front end, HTML, CSS, the truth is learning app development, web development, backend development, it doesn't have to be that complicated. And it doesn't have to be, in my opinion, doesn't have to be as complicated as a lot of developers would have you think today. Not anyone personally, but there's just these trends of everyone going to the Reacts and Views and these complex cutting edge JavaScript frameworks, everything abstracted. It does not have to be like that. Right now I'm building ProcessKit, which is a pretty complex, it's a CRUD app, but it's pretty complex. There's a lot to it. Ruby on Rails, HTML, CSS, vanilla JavaScript, and I'm using Stimulus.js, which is a very lightweight front-end markup focused sprinkling of JavaScript. That's it.
Yeah. That's the way to go, honestly. Like for most things. Like if your app is a CRUD app, and most apps are CRUD apps, you probably want the minimum amount of JavaScript possible. But like that's not what's sexy right now. It's just like not like if you went and asked to develop, like what are people doing? Like, oh no, you need all this different stuff. And it's just like, man, it's not my favorite ecosystem, I'll be honest.
Yeah, I mean, maybe what I'm talking about, it sounds naive because I'm not very experienced.
I agree with
this
you.
Stuff.
I've been around the block. I'm on the same page.
Yeah, but I mean, like, just using ProcessKit right now, it is snappy and fast in the browser. You don't have to refresh every button click. Every interaction is using Ajax or Stimulus.js and just popping stuff onto the page, popping it off. Like I don't know. It achieves the same end user effect as like one of these fancy single page apps,
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. There's this phenomenon where like almost no one would admit it, I think, but programmers kind of love complexity. They actually really like it when it's like complicated and weird and hard. And so if you just keep throwing more complexity at them, they're like, oh yeah, this is great.
I come from it like a designer. I'm like, how can I put HTML here and move some HTML over there? And like, for me, it all comes back to front end markup and then doing some work to shift that markup around,
Yeah. So # worth it, learning programming?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Good. Glad to hear it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like a little bit goofy to be like a software product creator and not be able to make the software. It's just
totally.
You're so hamstrung.
Totally. Here's something that I think you're a good person to talk to about. Pricing, but also customer research. That's something that I'm heavily into right now. This isn't so much a question as like an observation. So with ProcessKit, it will be priced per user, and I'm starting to, and what I'm doing is I'm having calls with people on the early access list, probably about 3 of them a week right now. And I've had maybe 25, 30 over the past few months. And I'm trying to get a sense of like, what level of the market should I be targeting this at? And that also determines what my pricing should be and what my pricing should not be and everything. And I'm talking to people who, a bunch of people have anywhere from like 2 to 5 people. And that's usually just maybe 1 or 2 partners and a couple of freelancers that they work with. And then there's a lot in the 5 to 15 range. And that's usually a mix of some full-time employees and a few contractors. And then I talked to a bunch of people who are like 20, 25 and up, like larger teams. First of all, what I found is the people who are 5 and below, some of them would have a use case for this, but I should not price toward them at all. My first instinct was wrong, which was like, this sort of has overlap with some of the cheaper project management systems out there, so I should cater to that. I'm not going to do a free plan, not even going to have a single user plan. Like the base plan is going to give you 3 users, and then after that it's per user above that. So I think that lower plan would cater to them. The 5 to 15 I think is the perfect batch because they are in this growth phase. they've grown to somewhere around 10 employees, and their processes, they've started to develop them, but they haven't settled on a good system that works at that level. Things are sort of in flux at that point, which means they're open to trying out tools and getting on board. And then I spoke to somebody yesterday who has 25, or he has like 30 people in a very highly optimized, like productized service. They would be a great customer. They would pay a lot for ProcessKit. ProcessKit would be a perfect tool for their use case, but they are so invested already in the tools that they're using, because they've gotten to that level of team size that it would be just too difficult to get them to switch onto ProcessKit, I think. So what I'm learning is like target those 15 to 20 people, and then they'll grow into the larger team with it.
Yeah, that sounds sensible. I did a bunch of customer development stuff when we were making Tuple, but I didn't come away with it with a good sense of who our ideal customer would be. Like I kind of just missed that part of the assignment or something.
Yeah.
Like I knew a lot about people that were interested in it, and like I did a lot of surveys and whatnot, but still, like I remember we launched and we're like days before launch, like this is going to be great. Like freelancers are going to use this and like give it to other people. And they're like, wait, like it took like months before I was like, wait a minute, like, no, this is for teams, you idiot.
Right.
I don't know how we blew that, but there it was.
Well, it's for parents. So you at least need 2 people.
Well, it's definitely, for 2. But like in my mind, like my friends who wanted it and like a lot of the people I talked to were like, oh, like solo operators that like, maybe they teach over pair programming, or they like freelance for clients and they want to pair with the client or something like that.
Well, when I first heard about it, heard you talking about it, that's sort of what I assumed. And I don't really have any experience with pair programming. I don't know how companies do it. But I always assumed that it was sort of aimed at like people mentoring people, some form of that.
That's a big benefit of it for sure.
Yeah. But I could see how the better customer for you is the company who kind of has it in their culture.
Yeah. And that's another thing that we've sort of settled on is like not really that interested in trying to sell people on pairing exactly. Like sometimes people will be like, I want to get Tuple because I want to bring pairing to my company. It's like, that probably won't work just because most of the time you can't change culture. Like it's very hard. If you have a better tool, it might happen. I would say it's more likely to happen. But what the people that are ideal for us right now are just like, we already do this. We don't like the tools we have. Please give us something better. Then that's good. It sounded like you had like a question you wanted to ask me or something about price or development.
Yeah. So on the pricing right now, I'm still like undecided on a few things because it's like I just don't know exactly how companies are going to use. I have a sense of like what the tool is intended to be used for. I think I'm going to start by just doing 50 as the base plan, gives you 3 users, and then 20 a user after that, and it's one plan. All the features are in it. That's sort of where I'm heading, and hopefully within the next 2 months or so is when I'll start having users and seeing who's actually willing to pull out their credit card. Because there are other things I could do. I could break it out, like certain features are only available at the higher tier. There's been some requests for like, well, what if we have a lot of guest users? How do we pay for those? And like, I have some ideas on how I could handle those, but I don't want to do anything about it until I actually have users,
Yeah. I think maybe one of the most important things in SaaS is the lowest number on your pricing page. Like, I think a lot of people end up in that lowest plan by default. Like, well, we'll start here and see how it goes. And so, like, because so many people end up in that bucket, the number on that plan matters more than maybe almost anything else.
Yeah.
So just the fact that the fact that the cheapest I can pay, like the least I can pay you is 50, I think is like a really good starting place.
All right. I feel like I'm like 4 weeks or so away from having the product ready to invite first users. And like, when do I start charging them? How do I start to do some form of marketing other than just having the early access page up? Like, it is tough to get that stuff rolling while I'm building the product every day. But
yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's just things on my mind. I'm trying to organize and figure out over the next 2 months.
Yeah, that sounds tough. I mean, I feel very fortunate to be able to like focus a little bit because we have more people. And just be like, all right, I'm not going to think about coding. I'm going to think about sales for the next handful of days. It's like super nice.
Yeah. Like the only non-product building thing that I'm making an effort to do is to make sure that I have 2 or 3 of these calls scheduled every week. I basically just have a reminder every Monday to go to the list and ask a few people for a call.
All right. So you eventually took my wise counsel and decided to learn to code.
Yeah.
Can I also convince you to have no free plan on Sunrise KPI?
I totally agree. I want to kill the free plan and see what conversions would look like if I just went to a free trial. But I am doing my best to not have shiny object syndrome this year.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that makes sense. If you don't think that's the business, then you should probably just stay away from it.
Like I could do it, but it requires some code changes in the app, and that means at least half a day of work, probably more like a full day because my focus is shifted away.
Yeah,
and
fun.
Right now I just feel like every day is so valuable to get me closer to ProcessKit launching that like I don't want to touch it.
Yeah, I mean, you working on Sunrise KPI is me having shiny object syndrome. Like I'm excited by it because it's new to me.
Yeah.
So you should almost definitely stay away from it.
One tweak that I made pretty early on was it started with you can connect 4 metrics for free, and I brought that down to 3, and I don't think that had any real impact. So
yeah,
it has something like I don't know 9 or 10 paying customers on it right now, but it's
okay.
It's the nice thing though, this is sort of a surprise is. You think about a free plan. Oh, the customer support load on a free plan. Like, how are you going to sustain that? I'm not exaggerating here. I have literally had like 3, if that, maybe 2 or 3 customer support emails about Sunrise KPI, and there are hundreds, maybe close to 1,000 free users at this point.
I mean, that's pretty legit.
And like some of those were even just reporting bugs in the app. It's a very simple app, and I have instructions kind of embedded right there inside the app. So it's really hard to like not figure out how to use it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it sounds like you're getting the normal freemium results ish. Like you have 1,000 free, you have 10 paid, you get like 1%. That's like about right.
Yeah.
Or about normal. I wish we could rewind time and just see what would happen if you just like had that same momentum, but charged everybody. Curious.
I am curious too, especially because it did so well on Product Hunt, which I did not expect. I didn't even put it on Product Hunt. Somebody else did. So that was sort of big for it. And if I had the pricing better optimized, that would have been good.
Yeah, I think there's an appetite for simple apps out there. Like I think the fact that like this is just like such an easily to understand thing, and it feels tightly scoped. It just feels like an easy win in a way or something. Like I think it appeals to people in a way that more complicated things wouldn't. There are a lot of like really complicated dashboardy data analysis type things.
Yeah.
And the fact that this is like an easy version of that, I think it just sort of resonates.
The thing that the whole idea for it for me was to have it be email based. I just want my numbers emailed to me every morning. That's it.
Yep. Email's a great interface. Yep. I've made a lot of apps where email is the interface, and it's awesome.
Totally. I think there's one called followup.cc. I've been paying that, whatever it is, $15 a month for at least 4 or 5 years now. And it like runs my whole life. So
it's legit.
Yep.
Yeah. I use Superhuman now for follow-up stuff. It's great.
Yep. What's up with you? What's the update in Tuple land?
Things are going great. I started emailing the list and being like, yo, here's a price. And do you want to buy it? And people are buying it. We signed up 10 customers this week, which is pretty cool. Yeah. So
what is the pricing at now? Like, how are you presenting it to them?
Well, it's still not public.
Okay.
I'm still not ready to
don't answer that question.
Yeah. I'm not going to answer that question exactly. But we do have like a pretty cheap, like your first month is a flat fee and you could bring on the whole team, test it with everyone. And that seems to be getting good uptake. And then there's like a certain per seat price after that, after your first month.
Got it. And so when you're going to the list, you in that email, you kind of show them like what the pricing is for them.
Correct. Yep. I've done like 10% of the list. I think the next batch I send out will have slightly different numbers. Just So I've tested a lot of price points, but one thing I haven't done is like been like scientific about it. So I would like try just different numbers and see what worked, but I wasn't tracking like what's my conversion percentage at different numbers and like what has the highest actual like revenue at the end of the other side.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try to be a little bit better about that with this like this batch.
I think that's always been a weak point for me, is being super data analytical about stuff like that. I lean so much more heavily on my conversations with customers and just observing customers' behavior and like just like basically developing a hunch around a product, whether it's the features or the pricing. Or I have developed like patterns. Like I know that like we were talking about earlier, the 5 to 15 users are better than the 30 plus users because I've had a bunch of those conversations. I think also because in most of my businesses, like in audience ops, it's not a high volume game. And so the only way to really analyze the data is to look back at the whole year. And see what changed. Like I can't run a test for a week and make sort of conclusions, you know?
Yeah. This feels like a temporary opportunity that I have where I have all these emails. And so I can do some split test things now that would be harder to do later because I just want to have the same volume, I think. So try to take advantage of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, things are good. The app is good. I recorded a little demo video today to show to people. And I was like, yeah, we did some good stuff here.
Have you, I haven't looked at it recently. I'm pulling it up right now. I hope it won't mess up this call, but have you updated the marketing site?
No, it needs it. It's time.
Yeah. I was wondering, because that's also on my mind about ProcessKit. Normally I would design it myself, but I think this time I'm going to hire a designer. So if there's a really good designer out there, I'm looking for someone in the next few weeks. And
nice.
I'm wondering, like, are you going to do that? Are you going to have like a, devote a whole project to getting that squared away?
Yes. I don't know exactly when. I need to kind of sit down and figure out the sequence of things like that. Like, it'd be nice to have, but I mean, we're signing up a lot of customers without it. So it's kind of like, doesn't feel like the highest priority.
Yeah.
Like I'd rather add more MRR and get more teams in here than have a nice marketing site.
Right.
But eventually I really want it. So somewhere in there. And I think we'll probably also hire out for that. I have some ideas and some guidance that I want to give, but I don't really want to be writing CSS or like Tailwind.
Yeah. I mean, I'll probably build the marketing site, but I just want it to look amazing, and I feel like I'm a good enough designer to make information come across clearly, but I don't have that ability that some designers do to be like, holy shit, that looks so awesome.
Yeah.
And
I plan over the years to spend kind of a lot of money on design because I care about it and I want to have like a beautiful tool and beautiful web stuff. And I think our audience will appreciate it. Yeah. And a lot of developer tools, or like some of the developer tools, are just ugly. And it's just like, wow, like let's not do that. That sounds terrible.
Yeah. The other thing I think I will hire out for that I don't normally do is copywriting. Like I think what I'm probably going to do is write like a first pass of the site copy, the way that I normally would, and then hand it to somebody who can just go through and make it punchier, make it more interesting, funnier, whatever it is.
I have this skepticism around that for some reason. Like maybe it's an overestimation of my own abilities, but I should probably try hiring someone at some point just to see.
I've always agreed with that like I think the founder, if the founder is the first person selling the product, which in most cases it is, I think that's definitely a skill that you should hone, is being able to write strong marketing copy for things that you want to sell.
Yeah.
And that's, I think it's easier to pick up that skill than learning to code, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I've always done that, but I'm not a full-time copywriter by any means. And so at any time I've gotten like, suggestions from professional copywriters on my copy, that it always improves it. But that's why I like the model of, the founder writing the first pass and then have a real copywriter come in and improve it so that at least they know where you want it to go. And,
right. Yeah. That sounds reasonable. It's probably worth giving it a try. I watched like 4 copywriting talks at MicroConf this year, I think it was.
Yeah, I did like Copy Hackers. Joanna Wiebe.
Yeah.
I've seen her speak a bunch of times, and I thought she had a really good talk this year, just very simple and actionable, talking about certain words.
I think most people don't kind of dumb their talk down enough like that.
Yes.
Like I like that she kept it like real straightforward. That was good.
Yep.
All right. Well, I know you got to go, so I'm going to let you run, I think.
Yeah. It's good to.
Thanks for coming on. Appreciate you co-hosting.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on. Keep up the podcasts.
Thanks, man. I will. You too. Consider posting way more.
Yeah. I don't know about that, but.
All right. If you'd like to get the show notes for this episode, that's artofproductpodcast.com. Thanks for listening.